Have you ever wondered how to maximize the impact that you're making on Instagram? With Instagram's latest update allowing up to 20 photos or videos in a single carousel post, the game has changed. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. Welcome to this week's Rocky Mountain Marketing Quickcast. This is your go-to source for actionable advice and the latest news in social media and digital marketing. Every Thursday in just 8 to 12 minutes, I'm going to be delivering quick, impactful tips to help you stay ahead in the fast-paced digital landscape. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to this week's Rocky Mountain Marketing Quickcast episode. Today, we're talking about Instagram's new update that lets you add up to 20 images or videos to a single carousel post. This is a significant change from the 10 maximum that it used to be. And while it opens up new opportunities, it really comes with its own set of challenges. So let's talk about the pros, the cons, and some of the best practices for making the most out of this feature. Again, this is not a new feature. Carousel posts, so if you're in the feed, the swipeable images, carousels have been around for a while. And last year, those started getting better engagement and reach than Reels. But again, Reels are still really important. It's great for new followers. Carousels are great for your current followers. That's a whole different podcast episode. We're just talking today about the carousel feature because expanding carousels to 20 frames mean that you have more room to tell a story, showcase a product line, or document an event that you or your business had. Imagine being able to share an entire product catalog. If you are an online business vendor, you could have an entire product catalog in one post, detailing step-by-step guides with visuals. This is essentially like having a mini website within a single Instagram post. Another advantage is the ability to mix and match different content formats. You can combine photos, videos, and even text overlays within the same carousel. One of the things that I like to do is have that call to action post saying for the main frame of the number one thing to amplify your Instagram. And then you swipe and you make it people problem aware. Does it feel like you're struggling with your Instagram posts or not getting enough reach? And then you swipe and maybe it's a funny GIF of someone looking stressed. That's the way that you can tell a story through a carousel post where every single swipe keeps people wanting to say, what's next? And when you have a carousel post that has more than just text or more than just pictures, it's going to keep people entertained. And that's what we're all doing on social media these days anyways, right? We're all there to be entertained. And the flexibility for carousels makes carousel posts one of my favorite ways to create content over on the gram. It allows more creative storytelling and can help keep your audience engaged longer. Every single swipe counts as an engagement in their algorithm. Plus, if you're collaborating with other creators or brands, having more frames allows each contributor to showcase their work without feeling squeezed. And now for a quick break. You've heard me mention some of my favorite tools on Rocky Mountain Marketing in the past, and today I want to talk to you about Podmatch. Podmatch is the tool that you need if you're looking for more shows to guest on to elevate your brand authority, or if you're a podcast host yourself and you've been looking for the perfect guest, Podmatch is your solution. Podmatch matches guests and hosts through their system, and I've had a tremendous luck with them over the past 5 years. Check out Podmatch at joinpodmatch.com/Katie. All right, let's get back to the show. But as with any update, there's also some downsides to consider. The biggest concern that I see is the potential for lower engagement if users don't swipe through all 20 slides. And if you think about it, 20 slides is a lot. I mean, my presentation at CEX this last year, I think my total slides were 16 slides. Granted, I had a 40-minute presentation, but I had 16 slides. 20 slides is a lot. How are you going to keep people's attention for 20 swipes. Instagram's algorithm evaluates the quality of your content based on how your audience is interacting with it. So, just like how reels are judged on how many seconds people are viewing them and how long they're watched, carousels are evaluated by how many swipes, how many frames are swiped through. If people aren't making it through all 20 slides, Instagram might not show your post to as many people, again, hurting your reach. Another con is that with more frames or more slides, there's a greater chance of diluting your message. Remember, folks, sometimes less is more. If your carousel isn't tight and focused and you know what the whole story arc is, you risk losing your audience's attention midway through. And again, just because you can add 20 slides doesn't mean that you should. It's really important to use as many frames as you need to get your point across effectively. What I have seen work the best with my carousels and the carousels that we do for our clients here at Next Step Social is carousels that are well curated and tell a cohesive story perform the best. When each slide adds value and builds on the previous one, it's going to keep your viewers and your audience engaged. It's going to encourage them to swipe through to the next post. So, for example, the first few slides to tease the content and build anticipation, use a relatable GIF in there or GIF. I was corrected. It is supposed to be GIF now, but use a relatable GIF in there, build the anticipation, then delivering the main message or the reveal in the middle slides, followed by a strong call to action at the end. That's going to both drive engagement and drive your conversions. Another best practice that we've seen is to mix up your content. Don't just post 20 photos or 20, text slides. Mix in videos, GIFs, text overlays, and even different ratios. This keeps the viewer interested and adds a variety to your post. Remember, Instagram is a visual platform, so your content needs to be visually appealing and dynamic. Also, consider the order of your slides. Think about how a user is going to experience your post. What do you want them to see first? And how do you want to guide them through the content? What is the story arc? And lastly, let's talk about some of the best practices for carousels, especially with this new 20 frame option. Again, the most important rule of thumb here is to be intentional with each and every slide. Ask yourself, does this slide add value? If the answer is no, it might be best to leave it out. Quality over quantity is key here. Another tip is to make the first slide compelling. So you want it to be compelling enough to stop the scroll. This is your hook, and it needs to grab attention immediately. If your first slide doesn't intrigue the viewer or your follower, they're not going to even bother swiping through to see the rest. Also, think about the narrative. What is the storytelling arc of your carousel? Even though it's just an Instagram post, they're still telling a story. There should be a clear beginning, middle, and end. And speaking of the end, like I said before, don't forget to include a strong call to action, whether it's encouraging users to visit your website, to leave a comment, to share this with a friend. Make sure you tell your audience, tell your followers what you want them to do next. Keep in mind that Instagram's algorithm favors posts that keep users on the platform longer. Instagram does not want you to be sending people offline. They want you to stay on Instagram for as long as possible. So if you can create a carousel that is engaging enough to encourage users to swipe through all 20 slides, you're likely to see better reach and better engagement. If you're just adding slides for the sake of adding slides, you might be doing more harm than good and wasting your most precious asset, which is time. While Instagram's new 20 frame carousel option offers really exciting possibilities, I think it's really crucial to experiment wisely. Focus on creating high quality, engaging content that tells a story and keeps your audience swiping. By doing this, you'll not only make the most out of this new update, but also strengthen your overall Instagram strategy. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.